In the previous video, we were ending up with creating our post components where we can create a title and a content. Then we can save our blog post and we can see our post just below. But if we refresh our page, our posts just get disappeared. It's because we don't have a server yet to store our data. And in this video, we are going to create a backend using Node.js. Node.js is a server-side JavaScript runtime environment by which we can store our data in database, and also we can operate our application dynamically. We will go through each and every steps, but still you don't understand any part of this, you can ask me in the comment section. Let's start with creating our backend folder inside our root folder, and here we can create a new folder and we can name it as backend. Then we will create a JavaScript file and we can name it as server.js. Now inside our server.js file, we will create a backend server through which we can exchange the data from our frontend with our backend. And inside our terminal, our frontend app is already running. Now if we click this add button, we can open a new terminal. Then we need to change the directory to blog. And if we write node server.js and hit enter, and we cannot see anything, it's because we have not write anything inside our server file. So let's write console.log and hello. Save the file. And now if we run the same command again, we can see hello. That means we are accessing our server file using this command. Now we can remove this line and create a server in this file. For that, we need to import some libraries from the node modules. First, we need to create a variable HTTP, and we use require to import the module, then HTTP. Now HTTP is a built-in module of Node.js which allows Node.js to transfer data over the hypertext transfer protocol. Then we can create another variable for storing our server. Then if we type http dot, we can see the methods it has, and we are going to use this create server method for creating our server. Then inside the parenthesis, we can pass an arrow function. If you know ES6 version of JavaScript, you should know about arrow function, and here we can pass parameters like request, response and next. Request is for requesting data from server, and response for fetching our data, and next is for passing a response. Then inside the curly braces, we can write response dot end, and this is our node server. Now we need to write server.listen, and that makes our server able to accept a port to listen on from the environment. Inside the parenthesis, we pass process.environment and port or 3000. That means our server will listen to whatever it is in the environment variable port, or 3000 if there is nothing there. Now if we run our file again, and we can go to our browser, open a new page, and if we search for localhost and 3000, hit the enter, and we can see this is our node server. That means our backend server is running and fetching our file data in this link. Now for the real work, we will create post inside the server file, and we will make a connection between frontend and backend server. Then fetch the post inside our post list component. Now we can store our environment variable inside the different variable. We can cut this line and create a new variable port, then paste the line. Now here we can simply pass the port. This works exactly the same without any errors. Now again, if we come to our server and make a change, we can remove our node and save the file. We cannot see any change in our browser. If we refresh the page, nothing has changed. Now if we go back again and close our file and again rerun it, and if we refresh the page, then we can see the changes. And it will be really annoying to close and rerun our server every time we make a change. To solve the issue, we need to install a package called NodeMon or the Node Monitor, so that we won't need to rerun our server again and again after making a change. We need to close our file and we can say npm install and save as developer, because we will need it only in development period, and our package name, which is NodeMon. Hit the enter and it is going to install automatically. Till then we can check more about NodeMon. And this is the package we are installing. We use this command to install the NodeMon. And you can see it restarts our application automatically if we make any changes. Alright, our NodeMon has been installed. Now how can we use NodeMon to run our app? Because if we run in previous way without using NodeMon, it is going to work as same. To use NodeMon for running our file, we can see a file called package.json inside our project folder. Click on it, and in the debug scripts we need to add a line. Start server. Of course you can use any name. Then we write NodeMon and server.js, which is our file name. Save the file. Now we need to use a different command line to run our file. Here we write npm run and start server. It must be the same as you write in your package.json file. Now we can see our file is running in a different way. That means our file is running through NodeMon. Now to check it, we can again make a change in our response. We can add node and save the file. And we can see our file is restarting. Now if we refresh the browser, we can see the changes without rerunning the command line. So we have learned how to write a response. This works fine, but it is not recommended to write every single responses in a single file. So we can create another file to store our responses from the server. For that, we can create a JavaScript file inside our backend folder, and we can name it as app.js. Now we are going to install another package called Express from Node.js, which will provide the full efficiency of running our backends. You can go to the official website and read more about it. And we are going to install this package. For that, we can close our file and type npm install and save Express and hit the enter. It is going to install Express automatically to our node modules. Now we can rerun our server again. And we will write our responses inside our app file. But before that, we need to import Express. We create a variable Express and require Express. Then we can create another variable app, which is going to an Express app. So basically what Express does is it will provide us all the methods by which we can request data from the server or post data to the server, as well as many other features. So go to the server file and we are going to grab our responses from here to the app file. Going back to our app file, and here if we write app dot, and we can see the methods from Express app like delete, get, or post. But for now we can use the use method, and inside the parenthesis we can write the responses using an arrow function. It is same as we wrote before. So here we pass parameters like request, response, or next. Then inside it we write response.end, and this is our Express app. So now we need to export our app so that we can use the responses inside our server.js file. To export our app, we can write module.exports, and we are going to exporting our app. Save the file, and we can go to server file, and here we need to import our app. So we create a variable, we can name it as app, then require our file from the backend folder. So we go to backend and use app. Now we can remove the responses, and instead of that we can write app. Now if we save the file and open the browser, then we can see this is our Express app, which we have written in our app.js file. Everything is fine, but sometimes our server may get errors due to network or any other issues. If we search for node server errors, you can check for the type of errors. So we need to create an error handler so that if there is an error in the server, we can catch the error and fix it. So first we can import the inbuilt node feature called debug. We can store it in a variable, and then we write require debug, and after debug we can write any name. We can write node server. I am skipping this process or else it is going to take longer, but I will go through each line so that you can understand how it works. You can copy the line of codes from the links below. So first we create a normal port variable in which we write conditions. So here we pass a parameter val, and if our port is not a number, it is going to return a value. Else if our port is greater than or equal to 0, it is going to return the port number, or else it will return false. Now we create a variable for catching the errors. If our server is not listening, then it is going to throw the error. And we create another variable to check our address type. Is it a string or a pipe, and our port number. Then we add some conditions using switch statements. In the first case, if our server requires some privileges to access in, then we can console that our server requires privilege. Not everybody can access it. And if our link address is already in use, it will console that our address is already in use, or else it will throw an error by default. Then if our server is listening, we create a variable for storing our link address, and we are going to check the type of the address. We store it in a variable, and then we use debug, which we have imported at the top. It will return a decorated version of console error for you to pass debug statements. Then we make a change to our port variable so that our port is going through the normal port and check the conditions, and we have changed it to a string. Then we use a set method from Express to set the port, and then we check the errors or the listening port. Save the file, and we can see there is no error yet. I hope you have understand till now, and of course I will link the code in description so that you can copy and paste it. Now we can close this server file. From now we are going to work only in this app.js file. So here we will write the post, and we are going to fetch the post in our post list component. Now we can remove these lines, and instead of this use method, we are going to use a get method to get the post. So here we write app.get, and inside the parentheses we will create a route or link. We can say API and post, and then we pass an arrow function, and inside this we can pass the parameters to request or fetch the responses from the link, and then inside it we will create a dummy post object. So our post is going to have an ID, and our ID is going to look like a long string, because when we will create our Excel database in MongoDB, we will have different IDs for storing the different objects. In this image you can see this kind of IDs we are going to have for each and every objects. And then we will have a block title. Let's say this is from server, and then we will have a content, server content, and we will have multiple posts like this inside our post object. And here we can make a change, as we will have different posts. We can write first content or the second content, and now we write response.status, and inside the parentheses we pass a response code like 200. If we go to the browser and inspect our app, alright, we get this NG100 error. Though this is not a major error, it occurs only in development period. It is occurring because of our navigation bar. First, let's fix this. To fix this, we need to go to our src folder. Then inside our app, inside admin, we can see this default folder, and then we go to its component TypeScript file. And here we can see our navbar is using two different modes. One is open and close. So we can go to template file and remove the mode from here and save the file. Then again go to default TypeScript file, and you need to remove this line from here as well. The NG100 error is occurring because we are using two different expressions inside ng after view init. Save this file, going back to our browser again, and if we refresh the page, we cannot see that error anymore. It is not a major error as it occurs only in development mode. Now going back to the response status, and I will tell you what this 200 is. If you go to network tab you can see this status tab. Like if we get an error response from the server, our error code will be 404. Now after this, we write .json to fetch our post array, and we can pass a message. Let's say post fetched successfully. And post is going to show our post object. Now if we refresh our page, we can see cannot get. It's because we have changed the route to get our post. So after localhost 3000, we need to write /API and post. So here we add API and post, hit the enter, and we can see our post array. Alright, now we want this post array inside our post list. But before that, you should know about something called cross-origin resource sharing, or the CORS. Because we are using two different servers or the links, and our browser does not allow to share data between two different servers directly. If we try to share data between two different servers, we are going to get this cross-origin request block error. Of course, we can write CORS manually, but instead of writing CORS manually, we are going to use a package called CORS. If you search for npm CORS, and this is the package we are going to install for handling our CORS. So copy this command line to install CORS, and we need to close our server. And paste the command line, and it is going to install automatically. Now to use CORS, first we need to import CORS. We can create a variable for importing CORS. It is going to work as a middleware. Then we write app.use, and inside the parenthesis CORS, then app.options, and use everything from CORS. Save the file, and it will handle our CORS. Running our server again. Now to communicate with a server over the HTTP protocol to download or upload data and access other backend services, Angular provides a client HTTP API module for Angular applications, which is called HTTP client service. Go to your app module file and import HTTP client module, and include it inside imports as well. Then we need to go to post list component, which is inside our post folder, and we need to show our backend post inside the post list. Go to post list TypeScript file, and all these methods we are using to get a post or posting something are coming from our post service file. So we need to go to post service file, and here first we import HTTP client from Angular, and this get post method we are using to getting the post inside our post list. From now we are going to use HTTP client module for getting our post list. but we cannot use this module directly. So we need to create a constructor. Inside it, we add a private class HTTP, which is going to be our HTTP client module. And then we need to add a curly braces in the end. Now in the getPost method, we are not going to return our post like this. So you can remove this line and we write this.http and get. And inside the parentheses, we are going to get the post from our server link. So copy the link and paste it here. So we are going to get a message and our post array, and our message will be a type of string. And post is our post array, which we have created inside our model. This post is our post array, but in browser we can see we have an extra item inside our post, which is ID. So we need to go to our post model and add an ID, which is a type of string. Save the file. So we need to add an ID for adding a post now, and for now we can keep our ID as null. Then we need to type .subscribe to view our post, and inside it we pass a post data. And now this .post is going to our post data .post, and then we update the post and moving to the array of our post. Save the file, and if we refresh the page, and we are getting an error. It is occurring because we are trying to override a post which is already exist. So go to post list component and we need to remove this post. Now if we refresh our page, we can see another error, which is JIT error. This JIT error is occurring because we might make a mistake while importing our HTTP client module. So let's go to app.module file, and here we can see we write HTTP client and it should be HTTP client module, and we can save the file. Now if we go to our browser and refresh our page, we can see our server side post inside our post list. That means we are getting data from our backend, and here you can see we are getting this server post from the backend inside our post list component. Now even if we refresh the page, it is not going to get vanished until our backend server is running. Now if we close our backend server and refresh the page, now we cannot see the post. Restarting our server, and for now we are fetching a dummy post to check the connections, but later on we are going to connect a database which is provided by MongoDB for storing our data. Alright, we are done with getting the post, and now we also need to add the post. So to add the post, we need to install a package called body parser, because our post is going to request post body like ID and title or a content. So if we search for body parser, and we are going to install this package. Body parser is an npm package that parses incoming request bodies in a middleware before your handlers. So close the server and paste the command line, hit the enter and wait for the download get completed. Now we need to import body parser and we can store it in a variable. Require body parser, and body parser is also a middleware, so we write app.use body parser.json and then app.use body parser.url encoded, which is going to parse the bodies from the URL, and we need to keep extended false. And now we add response for adding a post. So we write app.post and inside it we can write the same link because we will post in the same link, and then pass the parameters. Now inside the curly braces we need to create post object which is going to request .body from the body parser, and we can check if it is working or not by fetching our request in a response status. So if it is working, it will provide us a message, post added successfully, after saving the post. But before that we need to make a change in our service file. So go to your service file and after the post we write this.http and post. Then we are going to post in this link. And we will post our post, and here we also need to declare what we are going to post. If we go to our backend app, and we can see we are posting a message which is type of a string. So here we write message and string, then .subscribe to fetch the response. Here we pass an arrow function and we cut these lines and paste it inside subscribe. And to view the message string, we need to add a parameter. Inside the parenthesis, we can say response, and we want to show response inside our console. So here we write response.message. Now save the file. And going back to our browser, and let's try to add a post. We can say third post and add a content as well. Now if we save the file, we can see the message inside our console panel, which is coming from the server side, and that means our server is adding our post. Although we don't have a database yet to store our data. In the next video we are going to add MongoDB database for our application. I hope you have understand till now. If you have any queries, You can ask me in the comment box, or you can also ask me in the Instagram. Thanks for watching.